Do you yearn for travel that involves outdoor adventure and learning? I do. I also have a passion for all things farming and agriculture. I've traveled to exotic jungles to learn about growing chocolate. I even once owned my own organic vegetable and sunflower farm. And now I'm planning my journey back to agriculture. Agritourism, defined as travel that involves some type of agricultural experience. Agritourism is all about entertaining. But the marketing strategist in me knows that at its core, agritourism is really about educating, and education affects change. My future farm needs to deliver a profound experience to all of its visitors. It needs to educate people about food, health, and climate. Join me to learn from experienced agritourism farmers and entrepreneurs and help me build my future farm strategy. And who knows, maybe one day soon you'll find yourself in a tropical jungle cutting open cacao pods with a machete, or savoring an outdoor plant-to-plate community dinner with 100 guests at a farm in Illinois. So let's tap into the agritourist in you. Today we are returning to Tuscany for a conversation that really captures how something small can grow into something incredibly meaningful. I sat down with Arturo from Rosa de Magnano, who shares the story of his family's rose farm, one that began not with a business plan, but with a moment. A scent that stopped his mother in her tracks, brought back a memory, and ultimately led to the creation of a farm rooted in tradition, curiosity, and care. What I appreciate about this conversation is how it brings you into the rhythm of this kind of farming. This is not large-scale, fast-paced agriculture. This is intentional, seasonal, and deeply connected to time and place. From harvesting roses in the early morning to preserve their fragrance, to transforming those petals into syrup and jam, Arturo shares what it really takes to produce something so unique and so tied to both nature and tradition. As you listen, I invite you to think about the moments that spark something bigger, and how often those moments are right in front of us. Because this story is a reminder that agriculture doesn't always start with a grand plan. Sometimes it starts with paying attention and being willing to follow where that leads. This is Jen Ross, your Agri-Tourist Podcast host. Please leave us a review, subscribe, and share this podcast. Enjoy my conversation with Arturo, and welcome back to Tuscany.
Hi, Jen.
Hey, Arturo, how are you?
Can you hear me? Yes.
I can hear you. I can't see you.
Yeah, 1 second.
There you are. Ciao.
Hi. Ciao.
How are you?
Fine. Fine. Thank you.
Fine.
And
So
you?
I am doing well. It's still chilly here in where we are. How's the weather by you guys?
Well, you can see,
I see sun.
yes. No, today is maybe the first day of spring. Yes. It's
Okay.
like, I don't know, 21, 22 degrees Celsius.
Okay. So yeah,
So,
it was warmer earlier this week by us, but then it got cold again. So like typical
damn.
typical March, April, even May sometimes. But so let's talk about you a little bit. I know we spoke a lot
Okay.
when we were, when I was visiting, and I obviously got to meet family and we got to eat lunch together. But, and I have your oil here.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
gave it to a friend, and I knew this one friend. I bought 2 bottles, and this one friend, I just had a feeling she would absolutely love it. And she absolutely loves it. She's like, how do I get more of this? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I got to figure that one out. I was like, we
I'm
might have to
happy
go to
to hear
Italy.
that.
So, yeah, like another trip to Italy. That's okay. So why don't you tell me a little bit about, we spoke about your mom and how this all got started. Why don't you tell us about that story? Because I think it's a beautiful story about how this all got started. And then we can talk a little bit about the farm and what you do and all the great stuff that goes into it.
Yes, so as we already spoke about it, so it's a very I find it when I tell the story, I find it very romantic, and it sounds like very like a little bit. If I can say that in English, I don't know. It's like sounds like a fairy tale almost.
Yep.
Like so, my mom, when we were kids, me and my brother, she was used to bring us to the school bus. And going on the road to the school bus stop, she smelled a very strong perfume, very strong smell of roses. And that smell reminded her the uh, rose syrup of her grandmother, because the tradition of rose syrup is it comes from Liguria, the region of Genova, and it's a very old tradition. And so my mom had this flashback of his youth and of her youth. And so then when she brought us back home, she went looking for the source of this smell, and she found in this abandoned house, an old house that today is not abandoned anymore, but at the time it was. And it found this rose plant, and it started everything almost as a joke, because so she cloned the plant, and she started to have some plants at home. And from that plants, now we have 700 plants, more or less. We
Wow.
cloned the plants in the years. And of course, we bought not only from that kind, but we have the majority of the roses are from that specific rose that has been cloned. And then we call it. There is also, I don't know if I told you when we met, but there is also a very nice story, because she called it Rosa di Magliano. That is the name of the road where we live and where our
Okay.
little farm is. And because she didn't know, she wasn't able to find the exact variety, the exact species of this rose. And she discovered by chance that it was a topic in the botanic community, that there were many hypotheses, but no sure thesis about the
Wow.
provenience of this rose. It's a very funny story. And so in the last years, I think now, I think it's like 5 or 6 years ago, maybe even longer ago. I don't remember exactly, but thanks to the modern genetic tests, they were able to define the variety, which is uh, rose, is a damask rose called Duke of Cambridge, and was hybridated. I don't know if it's correct. Was like
That's good enough. Yep.
yeah. It was crossed. It was
Yep.
crossed by this French botanic called Lafay, and at the end of the 1900s. And
Wow.
that is the origin of our roses, which it's not very common, but you can find, it's not a unique rose. It's not only the Rosa di
Right.
Magliano. So we found that
Right.
after, and there was this is the story of our rose.
So how long ago was this when this walk to the school or bus stop happened? Like how long ago did this start?
It was exactly. I think it was 2001. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said that so the smell was what inspired her. Like it got her thinking. Did she have an interest in gardening, in farming, in like what were her interests at the time that obviously she had that connection to it from her past, but to take, to have that smell and people remember things, but then to actually act on it and do something takes a lot of effort and inspiration. So what do you think that was about? What made her take that leap to doing something like this?
So I think the educational background of my mom played a big role in this situation, uh, because she studied agronomy in Florence
Okay.
in the 80s, and she made a master degree in enology. And at the time, she was one of the few women that were doing enology, because we were at the end of the 80s. And
Okay.
so she discussed the thesis of the master degree, of the master degree enology, master degree with me in the baby. So I was just born. So
Yeah.
she finished the
Wow.
university, the master degree with me, that I was just born. And so I think the connection. She also worked sometime as more as let me think about the translation. It's like agronomo in Italian. It's called. It's
Okay.
like it's a figure that usually takes care of the management of the fields.
Okay.
So eventually uh, I don't know, analysis of the soil. Or analysis of the plants, and it's very
Right.
wide
Okay.
matter. And so also, especially with her background in enology, I think she had a strong connection with smells and taste, and
It's interesting.
with the taste buds. So I think this is the background. I could ask her directly, but
I'm
I
just
think I'm
curious.
pretty sure that can be a good
Did
connection.
she did she have a career in mind that she wanted to do? Like, was there something? I know she was raising you and your brother, you said?
My brother, it's
Okay.
2 years younger than me, but
Yeah, so, she's raising kids. It's not easy as a young mom. And did she want to use that education to do something specific that she would eventually do, or she just had gotten educated?
mm, I don't know. I think that it kind of happened a little bit by chance,
Okay.
because she started to do it just for us, for the family. And
Okay.
a lot of people, like, our guests, or, maybe for some birthdays with other kids. And all the people were keep saying to her, "This is so good, and it's so special. You should do something out of it." And then
And then
she
it evolved.
started. It evolved. She started like squeezing petals by hand in the kitchen of our house, and then
Wow.
after 2 or 3 years, she invested. She made the laboratory, so everything, for bigger scale,
Yeah.
bigger scale, but still very artisanal. But yes, for not the house, kitchen, and this is how it went. Yeah, yeah.
So well, before we talk about the oil itself, so she slowly, what do you remember growing up? Like, how did you participate in this, the growth of this business? Obviously, I know, you're kind of taking over and taking it to the next level, but as you were growing up, what do you remember from, what do you remember watching? What experiences do you remember from this? Because I know, I had my farm, and my youngest, Abby, was 3 years old when she, when she was at the farm. And then up until many years, she was at the farm, and she has some memories. Like she remembers certain things she did not like about the farm, and then good memories of the farm. But as a kid growing up, watching your mom, go from this one rose plant to, producing something like this. What do you remember?
So, first of all, I want to just make a to say that it's not oil because can be misunderstood with essential oil, which
Yes, please
is
clarify
different. So
that. Yep.
we did try to make essential oil, but we need huge quantities of petals that
Okay.
we cannot have.
So what do
So
you
it's
call it
syrup.
then? Syrup.
It's
Okay.
syrup. Yeah, it's
Okay.
mixed with it's three ingredients. It's lemon, sugar, and water. That's it.
Okay.
This and rose petals, of course. So,
Okay.
and no, I just wanted to make sure that it's because it maybe can be oil. It's essential oil,
No,
so it
that's
can be.
important. And I'm
Yeah,
sorry
yeah.
I kept saying that. For some reason that came up a lot in conversation, but that's really important. It's an important distinction, especially in America, because essential oils
Exactly.
and oils are used a lot. So yeah, that's important. Thank you for saying that. So what are some experiences you remember personally from growing up as part of this rose farm?
So it's a funny question. I like this because also I have to go back in the time in the past in my memories and uh, bad memories maybe. So we were helping her taking we call it in Italian spetalare, so taking off the petals
Okay.
from the flowers, and so this is quite funny. It's nice. So this this consistency of the petals is very light. It's and we have this big. I got the mountains of petals on the table, and this is a beautiful memory. Um,
Are they all the same color? Is it all the same color or the roses vary in
mm,
color?
Mainly, so the Rosa di Magliano, what we call Rosa di Magliano, the Duke of Cambridge, is a pink rose.
Okay.
But I would say roughly that we have 80% of our roses are of this variety. And then we have in total around 20 different varieties. So
Okay.
rest, the 20% left is more or less 19 different varieties. And we have red roses, white roses, and um, other pink roses. So yeah, we have other, but mainly it's a Rosa di Magliano pink rose. It's a
Yep.
pink rose,
Okay.
and maybe bad memory. I remember just sometimes my mom, she was very tired and she got a little nervous because of, too much work some days. And we were kids, so sometimes, what can happen with noisy kids at the end of the day, maybe it's not the best. So, but I wouldn't say I have really bad memory of our. At the time, it was also smaller
Yeah.
size of farming. So yeah, I
So
wouldn't say I have bad memory.
no, but that's good. I like the memory of a pile of rose petals. Like, those are things that, you do. You just remember like certain moments that just stay with you growing up. Like I think as kids we look at things very differently. Now, probably being in the business and doing everything you have to do now, it's probably a very different perspective. Now
Yes,
you
definitely.
understand why those your mom had those bad days.
Exactly, Jen, exactly. I was exactly like in the last couple of years, I exactly thought that. I was like, how did she manage to do everything alone? Because now I am, we are two, we help each other more or less, but she was alone. I was like, how the how she
Amazing.
I'm amazing. I don't
It
know how
is
she did. I
amazing.
don't.
And she did it
I,
and she taught you. And so tell me about the syrup as far as are you harvesting the petal? I'm thinking when I see a rose it's very closed in the beginning, and then it slowly opens up. Is there a point in time that you have to harvest those petals by in order to create the syrup? Tell me about that
So
process.
you touched a very nice. You used a very nice word. It's time, because time. We made. I start a little bit from far now, but I would like to tell you this because I think it's a funny concept, because uh, every kind of farm follows different times. No, so
Yep.
there is wine, there is farms with animals, and every farm has its own rhythms. And so we made a short video on our website. It's called in Italian, but I think there is also English subtitles. We call it "The Time of Roses," Il Tempo
Okay.
delle Rose, because our time is ruled by those plants. So our year goes around when the roses are going to bloom, and all the actions we need to do to take care of them. We do so. We take away, take off. Maybe, sorry for my English doubts sometimes. Um, uh, the bad weeds from manually, and we mulch. So we use mulch.
Okay.
We mulch for avoid them to grow too much. We use all the products from the farm, and then we prune them in the winter, and then as we approach slowly to the moment of the blooming, we start to control them every day, monitoring them, because the blooming time has a ascendant curve. It starts in the first days of May, and then has a peak around half of the month of May, and then start again to decrease. And so every plant, depending on the size, I would say can have like around 10 flowers, maybe even more, some bigger plants.
Okay.
And so we have 700 plants, and these flowers, they bloom up all more or less in different moments. So the first roses are the more beautiful, because the temperature are still a little bit chilly.
Okay.
So it helps a little bit to keep the perfume, to keep the petals,
Okay.
and so it's gradually, we harvest every day, and we choose the roses that are completely open, so that they end the flowering, the blooming. And so day by day we choose the roses, with it's not too difficult. You just need to understand which is the size more or less of, and also some characteristics of the petals, that when they are
Okay.
well opened, and then day by day we harvest them, and then we have these baskets full of flowers that we bring them immediately. So the harvest, it lasts around 1 hour and a half. We start usually before the sunrise,
Right.
so around 7:30, because on the orientation of the field, until 9 there is no direct sun, and then so we have to harvest usually before 9.
When you say before direct sun, is that because of the sun and the heat, or is that because we used to harvest always early in the morning as well? I don't know, I'm trying to think exactly why, but is there more of a biological reason why you're doing that? Is it better for the plant if you harvest in the morning before they open up?
So it depends. Then I'm curious to know what you were harvesting. I'm curious to
I'm
know.
trying to think, like, even with, you know what? a lot of times with sunflowers, we were harvesting early.
Mm,
I'm trying to, I don't know, we just did it. I don't know why. Also, I think in the direct sun, I think a lot of it had to do, like even with some vegetables, it's just the plants are kind of like, I don't know, it was unhealthy for us to do it. Like it was like they were preserving their water and then we're just cutting it. And it was like just not always a good time to harvest in the direct sun when it was like preserving it needed its water at that time. And then when you're
mm,
cutting it, it's kind of like, it's like you're exposing the plant. So we would always harvest early in the morning, no matter, that worked out for many reasons, but I know it was a plant thing too. I didn't know all the science behind it, but
mm.
I don't know. Sometimes the plants seem to become
I think
weak if we harvested them in the afternoon.
mm, so. I think that depending, of course, of what we need to harvest, but in general, if I can say that in general, as well. No, let's speak not in general. Let's speak of our case. So about roses, it's um, mainly because the sun dries out the perfume of the rose.
Okay,
So
which makes
the
sense.
heat
Yeah.
and the sun makes so the moment of the morning when they just open up is the moment where the smell of the rose is the at its
Okay,
best,
that makes sense. Yep.
and so we harvest that. uh, it happens very, very rarely that in some years we had so generous blooming, so many flowers that we harvested sometimes in the middle of the day. But we go just because we didn't want to lose the flowers, but
Right.
we just it's a special thing. It's something that we don't do often. And see, mainly this is mainly for maintaining the smell and then
Okay.
the smell, because then we transform the smell into taste. So the stronger the smell,
Okay.
the more intense will be the taste of the syrup.
Okay. So so then you take it right into production. Does it go right into production that day? And
Yes, yes,
is your production right there on the farm? Because you
yes,
said she set up like a lab. It's physically there on the
exactly.
farm?
It's
Okay,
50 meters from the field. Yeah, not even 50 meters.
that's
Yeah, it's
nice.
yeah, yeah, very, very close. Yeah, yeah.
That's nice.
All uphill, so it's like a
Uh,
big,
good
but
exercise,
very,
but
exactly good exercise,
at
but it's
least
very close.
at least it's not like zucchini or something very heavy that you're lifting.
Exactly, exactly.
Rose petals, maybe you can handle. So once it
Yes.
goes into production, how fast is that production process in order to make it
Um,
into syrup?
it depends because we always spoke about syrup, but we also make jam, rose jam.
Yes.
And so syrup, they have two different processes. Um, Syrup needs a time of infusion. So we infuse the rose petals in hot water, lemon juice, and we let it infuse for some hours. So when we do, it depends. So every day um, we decide what to do. The decision is based on how many roses we harvest. So because the the roses for syrup we need to a bigger quantity because the pots of the syrup are bigger,
Yep.
and so we can do bigger quantities. The roses for the marmalade to make a jam pot of rose jam, we need a little bit less. So depending on the quantity we harvest, every time we decide what to do. And then usually the typical day is doing one pot of rose jam is about 15 kilos of rose jam, and one pot of rose syrup, which is around 50 kilos.
Okay.
So during the time of the infusion, we jar the marmalade when it's hot, and then we make it vacuum with the hot temperature. And of course, sterilizing before all the jars. Very, very annoying. This moment is a little bit complicated because we don't have a professional sterilizer. Because it's a little bit complicated to tell for many reasons. But then we sterilize them manually, hand by hand, with alcohol, and then so in the time of infusion we jar the jar. I don't know how to say it. We put the jam in the jar.
Yes, perfect.
And sorry, my English sometimes
no,
anyway.
Your English is great, by the way. So
thank you. And when we finish to put the jam in the jars, we start making the syrup. So, and the syrup is a little bit different because we don't bottle it immediately, but we put it in bigger containers, inox steel containers, and then that's it. We let it rest there. They are refrigerated containers with a controlled temperature. And that's it. So this is the typical day. So one pot of jam, one pot of syrup, and averagely we do 65, 70, sometimes 60 kilos of rose total product by every day, more or less.
So at the end of but by what time? So May is really the harvest month. And so you're continually producing, you're harvesting and producing all throughout May.
Yes.
And does that go into June sometimes? Is there or is it pretty much done by a certain time?
Also, these again, speaking of the time of roses, there is never it's a window that
yes.
moves slightly, a little bit sooner, a little bit later. Sometimes it depends. It depends on the temperature. So the hotter, the sooner we start. The colder, the later. Yes, more or less. But usually, if I have to say an average time from 2nd, 3rd of May until 31st of May. Yes.
Wow.
Sometimes we went until June, but almost impossible.
That's a nice short season.
Yes, it's like 3.5 weeks of like a rose storm. Yeah.
Yes, literally a rose storm. Yeah. So syrup versus jam. Like, what is your percentage of syrup that you're producing versus jam when you're done with the season? So is it 50% syrup and 50% jam, or is it more jam than syrup?
So it's definitely more syrup because we have one big client in Italy that they buy us a lot of syrup, not bottled.
Okay. Well, that's nice. That saves on cost.
Yes, it's exactly. Pro and cons.
Yes.
But yeah, it saves on cost definitely. And so averagely, also that is not always the same every year, but more or less, I would say 70% syrup and 30% marmalade. Yeah, jam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And tell me about who your customers are. Who's buying this? Obviously, you have a client buying the syrup, a big client buying the syrup in Italy, but who else? I know you do send this to America. So where else are who are your customers?
So I think it's surprisingly various our customer type because we have mainly people who are passionate about food. So we sell a lot to well, a lot for our volumes, but well, we sell a big part of our production to shops, either small shops in Italy or even in the US recently, or also a little bit more bigger size of online shops still in the US. Um, but it's very various because sometimes they are like maybe more like towards gourmet style, so with different kind of foods and also our products, which is very, very, very special. It's not easy to find this kind of products. Of course, it's a niche. So
Yep.
people who like roses, it's a niche. So it's not for everyone. And also private customers. Also, they look for us because maybe they have heard of us. It's very funny, this thing that we don't do any advertisement, and people find us because they fall in love with what we do, and so they find it so special. And literally, I barely believe myself when I'm telling this that it's happening, but it's happening.
That's a good
Uh,
thing.
it's a good thing. Yeah. It's a good satisfaction because it
Yes.
means that we do something good. So it's a big satisfaction. Yes, absolutely. But this is the thing. Sometimes I get an email or a phone call. Yeah, hello. I tried your syrup, and how can I purchase it? And every time we don't get so often this calls, but when it happens,
I'm
it's a nice
sure.
satisfaction.
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
So when did is your mom still working in the business at all?
Well, she's still like in especially in the first years, it was not easy because she for her passing her business to her son, so her second son, well, third son to her other son. So sorry for, but no, uh, without any jokes, no, she was in the first years we had like we struggled a little bit because
It's
me
hard.
and
That is
her.
a very challenging thing to do.
Mm, we needed to find our space, our role inside our small farm, and sometimes even different ideas, sometimes in positive. So sometimes also, we had some contrasts. But now I'm very happy that we found really a balance. I'm very happy with that because so now she trusts me. Now she trusts me, and so now I'm saying now, like since 3 years, I would say. So I have the farm since 6 years. Now this is the
Okay.
sixth year, the beginning of the sixth year, and now since 3 years, I would say more or less, we found the balance, and now, of course, she helped me, but more in. Um, Sometimes during the production period, which is very intense, so we share a little bit the intensity of
Yep.
this period. So she still helped me in that period, but I would say that now I'm becoming more and more what she was before, so independent. I'm
Yep.
almost completely. So the man, but I mean, she still does. I don't want to minimize what she's doing. She does a lot still
I'm
to help
sure.
me.
I'm sure.
I would. It would be really difficult for me to keep everything so the field so well, and even the bureaucratic part,
Yeah.
the invoices, and we get the organic certification body control every year. They do analysis,
Yep.
and we need to do a lot of papers for this
Yep.
day in the year that they come randomly, and
Yes.
we have to be ready, and it's a big stress. I'm
Yeah.
not lying. I'm not gonna
And
lie
I can
because it's
imagine. I
because
can
always
imagine.
the the fear of uh, you know of having made I made some mistake, or that something is not completely perfect.
Right.
So but yeah, she still helped me a lot. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I have one more question about that, but I just want to ask you, so is this considered certified organic?
Yes,
Okay. Is
by
there is
yeah,
that, I don't know, I can't read a lot of this, but is that label, that green? I don't know if you can, is that have something
exactly.
to
So
do with
you
it? Okay.
bought it in
Okay.
Italy with Italian label, but when we sell it in the US, there is the FDA organic
USC. Okay,
logo.
perfect. Okay, that's great.
And
And
yeah,
I know how hard all that is. Let me ask you a
yeah.
question about you in the business now. What do you think you've brought to this business? Like, what uniqueness, like, about you have you brought to this business that you feel you've brought? Or that your mother, if I asked your mom, what did Arturo bring to this business? What do you think she would say?
I think that in this passage between us, I think that it's something very simple I brought, that I think also made her also very satisfied, very happy. But I think it's, I mean, I don't know, maybe for me it's obvious, maybe it's not that obvious, I don't know. But, um, a little bit of fresh energy. So I'm younger, of course, and I'm in my end of my 30s now, and I took the farm right in when it was in the middle of COVID, and so the farm grew, and this is a satisfaction for
Absolutely.
both of us, for me and for her. But it is what is happening in the last, as I told you before, in the last 3 years, 4 years, that we started not to be in contrast, but to be together, to join, to uh, be able to yes, to work together in a very good way. And so
Yeah.
this thing with my energy, her experience, and these made the good
Yeah.
combination. And of course, when I say grew a lot, our dimension is very small. It's very, very small. But even in our small dimension, we were able uh, to to make it better, to grow a little bit. And actually now we are in a moment that, I don't know if you remember, but we spoke already when we met, of this moment of, what we do. We make it bigger. We we do it. We do this step, or we keep it as it is. That it is, because it opens too many different paths.
Bigger is not always better, so,
Exactly,
so
exactly.
you have to weigh a lot of things. Plus, I know you have a little one on the way, and that adds a whole level
There is another, yes,
of craziness
another
and
adventure coming.
responsibility, and also,
Mm,
you know, this little person watching you in this business, so you watched
mm.
your mom, now someone's going to be watching you in this business. So there's a whole, yeah, you're going to be, there's a lot going on in your world right now. So two quick things I did want to mention. One, you said, you bring woofers onto your farm or into your home.
Mhm.
You just want to touch on that, and just, has that, you've been doing that for a while now. Did your mom start that, or did you start that?
My mom started it.
Okay.
Actually, we are doing woofing since 20 years.
Wow. Wow.
Yes, we
I
were
love hearing
the
that
begin.
though. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And what, I guess, just a really high level, like, what do what's your experience overall with woofing? Obviously if you're doing it for 20 years, you believe in in the power of it and the opportunity you're giving to people coming in, and obviously even the opportunity of you to learn from them. So just give me your quick, what do you think about woofing at your farm?
Woofing is amazing. Dot. No, no,
Exclamation point.
no, exclamation point. Exactly. No, it's as you said. I don't know. It's. I mean, it's really an incredible experience. That the proof is that we still do it after 20 years, and
That is an endorsement, yes, on both
exactly.
sides, that people are coming back and that, you're still supporting that whole, what woofing is about. I think that's really important. I'm a big believer at any age, even
Yeah,
at my age.
absolutely. I tell you this. It is a very funny story. We had for last olive harvest a Thai woman, Thai, well, half British, half Thai. Well, she was Thai, but she lived a
Yes, got
long time
it.
in UK, and and she was amazing. And she was 65, 64. I don't remember exactly. And she was a power of nature. It was
Yes.
like
Yeah, no,
she
I
was
mean, and
amazing.
it's, it's really a great opportunity for people who have a lot of energy and still want to learn and give back. And, you know, I don't know. I think it's great. I think it's a great, when I
It
learned about
is.
it, I'm like, I'm all
Absolutely.
in. So, the other thing I know we spoke about, and I just want to touch on this, is agritourism. So we talked about, can people come to your farm outside of woofing and experience this in any way? And I know you don't do that right now, but you had talked about potentially doing that at a separate location. Can you just touch on what the thinking is there? Like what you were, thinking about creating, where you were thinking about creating that, if it, I know it hasn't happened yet, but I know you had some thoughts about it when we spoke.
So correct. So we because where the farm is and the laboratory is more agri than tourism. So
Right.
it's a it's a little bit, as I told you before, it's very steepy, and so the morphology of, man, can I say that the of the land of the
Yep.
field makes it a little bit complicated to host people
Right.
there. It's also a little bit complicated to arrive there because the road is very narrow. So it's a very rural area. Um, what I was thinking in, I hope, near future is to make close to my house, because I live about 15 minutes drive from the farm. So where I live, there is a very nice field, not too steepy, in front of my house, and there I was planning to have another field of roses that will be both for harvest for our product, but also to have the possibility of hosting people, and and uh, have the experience of, because you talked about buffet, because the experience of rose harvest. Okay, let's be honest. Doing that for 1 month, very intense. It's after 1 week. It is it's a job. It's a job. So it's still roses. It's not zucchini or whatever, but uh, so it's hard. Well, not hard, but it's
Tedious.
tiring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tiring. Can be tiring. But I see people when they come to us, woofers or maybe even workers that they work with us, um, uh, that they experience, especially the first week, and you are harvest. So I think my one of my favorite moments is the harvest. So giving the possibility to other people to have this little experience of rose harvest, um, I think can be very nice, very special. It's something very unique. So touching the flowers very early in the morning when they still have the humidity of the night, uh, um, and and then they are very soft, very fluffy. So when you have these baskets of flowers and you put the hands inside the basket full of flowers, I don't know. I'm trying to describe
I love the
it, but
description, and I think that you should do it. I think it's such a unique
mm,
opportunity. And just the education piece, just like everything I've been talking to you about, and I learned when I was there, and I learned just now, there's so much to this, and then, tasting after, like, so, so my final question to you is, okay, if I live in America and I hear this podcast, can I order this online? Is there someone, do I have to
yes.
go to someone in America to, I know you work with someone in America who orders from you. Do I have to go to them, or like in America, how do I order this?
So thank you for asking, first of all, because of course it's also a small opportunity for us, but we have a distributor that is online, and it's called Pure Indian Foods. It's
Okay.
the owner uh, fell in love with our syrup, and actually I never asked him how he knew us after, because it's so many years, because he's very old client. He's like maybe 10 years now he's
Wow.
buying our products. And so it started everything when was my mom still managing and owning the farm. But anyway, Pure Indian Foods, and you can digit online rose syrup, Pure Indian Foods, and it will appear on your
Okay.
Google search
Perfect.
the results. Or there is a very small shop. This is a very recent customer, that for the ones who are in Santa Fe, there is a shop that is called Tiny Tiger Shop, Tiny
Okay.
Tiger Cafe, and they also have our syrup.
Okay. Excellent. Well, hopefully more to come.
Hopefully, more
Hopefully
to
that list
come.
grows.
Hopefully,
Excellent.
yes.
Well, Arturo, I know, so we're on the verge of rose harvest season.
We are,
Yes,
yeah, we are checking. I will send you some pictures because
I would love to.
for the ones who will listen this podcast, we have also an Instagram account where they can
Yes,
see what we do. The Rosa di Magliano is the name of our farm, and yes. So
I
anyway,
will
it's
link to
nice.
everything. Yes, absolutely. That's
Thank
great.
you,
And then
thank you.
in July you're due you might become a parent. Was it July or June? It was
Yes, I will become father. Well, the date will that they gave us at the hospital, at the nursery, they gave us the 24th of July. Then
okay.
we will see if he will be. It will be a he, and if he will be punctual or not. Let's see. Uh,
Well, hopefully he doesn't come early.
yeah, exactly. No, hopefully, but I hope. I mean, I'm confident. I'm not worried about that.
No, I'm sure
Uh,
yeah. So, okay, excellent. Well, you have a lot going on in the next few months. And I
yes,
wish you all the luck. And I will let you know when this publishes. But thank you for doing this. I'm excited for you. And like I said, your product is amazing. I didn't get to taste the jam, but maybe in the near future I will. But the syrup is amazing. So, thank you.
thank you, Jen.
All right, we'll speak soon. All right, take care,
Thank you for
Arturo.
the interview.
Absolutely. I can't wait to publish it. I hope our Agri-Tourist podcast prompts you to think more about where your food comes from, whether it be your vegetables, fruits, meats, and even those sweet treats. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with someone you think may truly benefit from or be inspired by it. Visit us at agra-tourist.com. Until next time.